in the car to go. And then all the cars were abandoned, so I had nowhere to go, so I just had to get out of my car and start walking. The smoke is so bad.
Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency amid this apocalyptic scene in Pacific Palisades. At least 2 people are dead as 4 wildfires burn in the Los Angeles area. It's 11:01 on this Wednesday. I'm Eric Connert.
And I'm Netta Irampour. Thank you so much for joining us here on CBS 8. These fires are expected to get even worse today, if you can imagine that, as strong, dry winds continue. We do want to start our coverage with CBS's Danya Backus reporting from the Palisades fire.
Oh, wow. The whole thing just went down. The whole house just collapsed.
The images are apocalyptic. What started as a brush fire ballooned into the Palisades fire. It's one of 3 wind-fueled fires in the area. Firefighters are picking their battles with parts of the Pacific Palisades beyond saving.
Obviously, this one here is a total loss, so they're trying to move ahead and skip ahead, get in front of the fire, and keep it from going from one building onto the next.
Firefighters are also battling fatigue and finding some hydrants without water. The danger is ever present. One man using a hose to douse flames almost got burned in the process.
Good?
Tens of thousands have had to evacuate, and Tuesday some residents fled in such a hurry. Some abandoned their cars in the gridlock.
There's a lot of fire right there. That's why the people coming. We leave the car.
It's hard to see, hard to breathe, and hard for firefighters to contain, as seen by this home that's completely engulfed by flames. Worst of all, the wind.
Okay, the wind's starting to pick up again, so it's going to get a little gusty, and the smoke's going to start coming through one more time.
Hurricane-force winds are also fueling the Eaton fire northeast of Los Angeles.
You can imagine trying to fight fire in those winds. It is really incredibly challenging and volatile and unpredictable.
Firefighters are hoping for even the slightest relief.
Those winds will die down somewhat as we head into this afternoon and into this evening, but we're still seeing that offshore flow.
Crews hope to minimize further damage in this trifecta of dangerous fires. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And this morning, crews around San Diego County remain on high alert. We are also experiencing strong, hot winds and dry conditions. It's unfortunately the perfect conditions for a wildfire.
CBS 8 now declaring a weather impact alert. Overnight, SDG&E began public safety power shutoffs. We know that affects a lot of people to try to reduce the risk of fires amid these dangerous winds. So we have team coverage on today's severe weather. Meteorologist Evan Narani in studio with your forecast. We also have CBS 8's Chris Groh live at Calfire headquarters sharing new information from first responders today.
Regina Yarita live in Descanso at a center to help people experiencing power outages. But first, let's go to Kelly Hessedal live in Kearney Mesa at SDG&E headquarters with a look at the current power shutoffs across the county. This impacted a lot of people here.
Yeah, absolutely. And according to SDG&E, the big time frame that's of big concern right now is noon today through Friday afternoon. So yes, as you mentioned, the public safety power shutoff started last night and more continued into today. So let's go ahead and pull up that outage map for you and show you where the areas of concern are. So right now it's mostly concentrated out east. All of the red you see there, that's where the power is currently shut off now as a precaution. All of the orange spots, those are communities that are at risk of having their power shut off. So right now more than 7,300 customers are without power, but the potential number of customers that could be affected is close to 60,000. So we're talking about places like Alpine, Escondido, Julian, Descanso, Valley Center, all are without power right now. Jacumbo, Campo, the list goes on and on. Some of the communities that are at risk of having their power turned off include parts of San Diego, Poway, Ramona, La Mesa, El Cajon, Rancho Santa Fe. So there are a lot of people that potentially could have their power shut off as a precaution. And back out here live, there is a spot on that SDG&E website where you can actually just type in your address to see if you are potentially at risk of having your power shut off. We do have a link for that up at CBS8.com. Just click on the help button. But for now, let's go to my colleague Regina Yarita, who is live in Descanso. Regina, what is the latest there?
Yeah, Kelly, well, we have been out here for the past 45 minutes, and we've noticed those winds picking up during certain times, especially when those wind gusts roll through. But talking to some people who live out here in Descanso, they tell me that last night those winds were much more powerful. Some people seeing some tree branches and outdoor debris flying around. That's why one of the biggest recommendations is if you do have outdoor patio to tie it down so you're not causing any larger problems. And if you mix that in with the dry vegetation out here, especially with how crazy those winds can get, any down power lines that can easily ignite a fire. So that's why, as Kelly mentioned, SDG&E has shut down power to thousands of customers because of the elevated fire weather conditions and Santa Ana winds. That's also why community resource centers are available for customers impacted. There are about 6 of them that open to the public at 8 a.m. We actually visited the center here at the Descanso Library. These are centers that have resources such as Wi-Fi and phone charging stations. They're also handing out waters and blankets. And I talked to one woman who told us when she noticed her power had been shut off last night. Take a listen.
At 10 last night, so probably after 10 last night. I don't mind it. You know, I really don't care. I like it.
And since these power shutoffs and powerful Santa Ana winds are expected to continue, I do want to show you a list of resource centers that the county has set up. You have the Boulevard Community, Descanso, and Julian there. So these are just some of the areas that if you need to go and charge your phone or get any water or blankets, this is a great area to go to and have that. But back out here, again, not much powerful winds, but there are certain periods of time. SDG&E is also monitoring the weather conditions, and that's why we're dealing with those power shutoffs. But Calfire has also been preparing for this weather impact, and I actually want to send it to Chris Groh, who's out there in Rancho San Diego. Chris, how are the conditions looking out there?
Yeah, we have Calfire HQ right here. We know that a lot of staging happening here and all across our region. So I want to bring in Captain Robert Johnson to talk a little bit more about sort of the preparedness of Calfire here specifically to our region. We see what's happening up in LA and the conditions again. We talk about that. So here locally, what's going on to make sure that we can best respond to anything that sparks up?
Yeah, Calfire throughout the southern region has increased staffing of fire crews, fire engines, dozers, fire investigators, as well as locally in San Diego County, we've also increased staffing. All the days off currently for firefighters are canceled. That allows us to staff additional equipment and be prepared for any sort of emergency.
And we were talking about there's even some crews from other parts of California that are here now too, right?
Yep, absolutely. We do have additional hand crews and engines that came down from Northern California, and they're pre-positioned in San Diego. Just in the event that a fire starts, they'll be ready to respond. A lot of times if they're coming from, let's say, Fresno or Madera or somewhere up north, the response is going to be 6 to 8 hours. So pre-positioning for this weather event allows them to respond immediately in the event that there's an emergency.
We're talking about how Calfire can prepare, but there's some things that people at home can do, but there are also some things they shouldn't do. So let's start with that go bag. What are some of the things that people should make sure that they have ready to go?
Yeah, always have a go bag. That's not just for wildfires, that's for any type of emergency, but we recommend having a minimum of 3 days worth of food and water. Have important documents, any medications ready. A lot of people forget a cell phone charger. You don't want to be evacuated and your phone dies. Have a cell phone charger, and make sure that that go bag is aware that members of your family and friends know where that's at, so you can grab it at a moment's notice.
We talk about the things you shouldn't do before we send things back to the studio. There was a fire not too long ago that you guys found out was created from some yard tools, right? So defensible space. It's something that we talk about. Today's not the day to try to go out there, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's required to maintain defensible space around your structure in California at all times. But today is not the day to be doing defensible space. With the increased winds and the lower relative humidities, any spark can cause a large and damaging fire. Yesterday we had a fire. It was approximately 3.5 acres just outside the town of Julian. Fire crews were able to respond and suppress that fire fairly quickly. Calfire investigators were able to determine that that fire was caused by equipment use.
Well, Captain, thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Stay safe out there. And of course, continue to watch the conditions out here, our entire crews, as well as Calfires as well, too. Evan, we know that you're looking at the forecast and how things are looking out there. What can you tell us?
Yeah, we're continuing to see right now as basically the pivotal time, the peak of our wind gusts and wind speeds out there. Santa Ana's continuing to push all of that warm, dry air from our inland valleys all the way to the coast. So take a look at where our peak wind gusts have been over the course of the day today. Rancho Heights closer to the Temecula area coming in at nearly 70 miles per hour. Pine Valley 60 miles per hour. Cuyamaca 60, Alpine 46. Notice a lot of these places are not densely populated, which is why a lot of viewers have said they haven't seen a lot of wind close to the coast and toward our inland valleys. It is far east and making your way toward the mountains that we're seeing the most intense wind gusts. Speaking of that wind, some of it is pulling some of the smoke in our direction. When we lose that easterly component and these winds are coming out of the north, that means all the smoke to the north of us is drifting in our direction. So a lot of spots on the map here under moderate or unhealthy for some groups air quality. That means we could continue to see deterioration of air quality if we hold on to more of that northerly component. That's where those arrows are pointing down toward the bottom of your screen. That means wind is coming from the north. Pine Valley, perfect example. Where we're at our peak right now, 55 mile per hour wind gusts, sustained speeds around 36 miles per hour, dying down over the course of the day. This will not be the end of this Santa Ana wind event. We get a little break on Thursday, picks back up on Friday. Out the door right now, warmer than normal temperatures. If you're not considering the fire danger and the wind out there, it's a beautiful day. Sunny blue skies, temperatures at 74 degrees, 70 in Oceanside, but we have to be cognizant of this fire danger that we see out there. Here's a live look at downtown San Diego as we face from Mount Soledad. This is a little bit of haze out there on the horizon. Again, we could face more issues related to air quality over the course of the day today and tomorrow.